Hey guys, it's Doug Grindle here. Hope you're doing okay. This is Module 4 and communities. So I picked a community which is political, Massachusetts Republicans. And obviously it's pretty self-explanatory. It's a bunch of people who support or are part of the Republican Party and want to get Republicans elected and also just basically push forward with those values. Those values would be smaller government, government efficiency, fiscal responsibility, lower taxes, some social issues, but not really. And then just people who just want to hang out and basically talk politics and hang out. So it's mostly self-organized, actually, and we'll get into that a little bit more. It's started by the Republican Party, obviously. This is pretty much going to be the same as with the Democrats, but what the heck, let's pick the Republicans. It's both online as well as offline, so there it uses email, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, websites, and there's a bunch of meetings and stuff like that offline, as well as mailings and things like that. So let's take for instance, let's go into some examples of some of the online stuff. This, for instance, is a pressure group called Red Mask Group, and they have things to say about various issues. And then over here on the right, then they come up with various sort of like news articles and things like that. So it's just a way to keep connected, see what's going on, no big deal. And the Republican Party itself has its own website as well. Well, because it would be crazy not to. Hey, Ronald Reagan, freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction, mainline sort of stuff. And then, individual candidates will have websites and Facebook pages. This is like some guy running for governor up here. His name's Charlie Baker. He actually has a website. That's the website. That's Charlie Baker. And this is his Facebook page. So this has plenty of postings and that sort of stuff as to what's going on. So anyway, you can see that there's a whole bunch of different ways on the online stuff that people actually get together and they talk about stuff, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Twitter, which I've not brought up, and YouTube has stuff too, and these websites. So it's all pretty. Each one of these people, basically, or groups, will self-organize. They're like, oh, I want to be part of this community, and then they will put in their own 2 cents worth. And so there's a lot more out there than I can really, list. But if we're looking, slide 2, looking at the sort of types of people out there, we get like activists. It might be Tea Party activists, it might be moderate activists, doesn't really matter. Pressure groups, sort of like that Red Mask group, they want to see Tea Party sort of activities going forward or values. And these groups are like online groups. It's all centered around the Republican Party, which loosely basically organizes the Republican Party concept in Massachusetts, but obviously, these people are all self-identifying that they're part of it, and also most of their interactions, whether it's Facebook or whatever, have really nothing to do with the party. So, it's the exception would be these outside Massachusetts influencers. That's really just a whole little, a league or community all of itself, or network, well, community as well, which has influence obviously on this community here in the state. So yellow would be like a pool. Most of these people are, these groups are pool groups. Basically, they're an idea. They have like more or less social bonds, connections between each other, but it's really about the idea. And the Republican Party itself is red. It's the organizer of the whole thing. You really have to be registered with them to be taken seriously. And it would like to be a pool. Well, it really is a pool. It would really like to be a hub, but it would need a charismatic leader such as Ronald Reagan or something like that. And those are hard to come by. So it's pretty much in pool status. So by trying to talk with people and get them to do things. And then, blue, the outside Massachusetts, the outside the state influencers sort of like have some pool and web sort of like characteristics. The web being sort of like the personal contacts. So moving right along. So if we look at this, okay, so what are these people like? Are they quite active? Well, I would say, I'm just guessing, it's more or less like the BBC model. Like, about a quarter of them are sort of like, oh yeah, that's nice to see. I'll sort of like whatever's going on. Some of them will post or get involved. Sometimes show up to meetings, post Facebook pages. That kind of thing. So about 60%, it depends on the day. They're busy, they have families, and the other 17%, I think this is about right, they're up there all the time. And obviously the professionals are up there all the time, the people that work as staff on these campaigns, but we're sort of discounting them in this sort of sense. So Critics versus creators. You'll find that the online groups, the pressure groups, are by far the most critical of the of policies, whether it's Democratic, whether it's other Republicans, and the but again, the creators. There's really um, about 77%, sort of like Dan said in the lecture. Depends on how often, but about 77% are creating on a fairly regular basis, from the 17% that create a lot to the 60% that only create occasionally. So that's pretty much it. That's what's going on up here, and have a great day.